This programme is brought to you by vinny.co.uk.
A very warm welcome back to the Champions League pool here on Free Sports. It's been a fantastic night of action so far. It showcased just how fun the game of pool is to watch and just how brutal it can be as well. Dylan Leary doing precious little wrong, but finds himself out of contention in group number 8. Shane Thompson very much still alive, as are our next two players. Next up is Declan Brennan versus Michael Hill, and this should be a bit tasty.
Yeah, but going on first matches, you'd say that Declan probably starts in this match as favourite on the form we've seen so far tonight. But I think there'll be some relief from Michael that he's over the line, and he can certainly improve on that previous performance. You have to say, though, the winner of this match is going to be in just in a really strong position to go through from the group. I think if you're in Shane Thompson's camp, then you're hoping either for a draw or a Declan win, because then at least he gets to affect the outcome or keeps the control more in his own hands.
Declan, I must say, has been the most impressive performance so far. His game against Dylan Leary, he didn't put a foot wrong, looked imperious.
And had to negotiate that golden duck as well.
Still can't believe that happened. Absolutely amazing.
And Michael Hill touched on it in his interview. Heard from him earlier that Declan and Shane have both been playing an awful lot of pool, doing a lot of online challenges, sort of ghost matches, trying to clear from the break in sort of challenge matches. It's been quite entertaining. A lot of players getting involved in that. It's been good to see. Not landed where he wants to here, though. Those three in a line are a bit awkward. Not sure if the bottom one of those three goes to the corner. It looks really tight. It looks like he's taking on, but this looks really tight to me. Oh, he's playing it off the yellow. That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
That is so good.
When he got down to play that shot, I wondered whether he was just going to drift it over and cover the pocket and say over to you, Michael. But no, full-blooded, off the red, and now they're all there from him. Although, another loose positional shot. He's okay, he's get through the gap.
That shot's the sort of level that we're dealing with in this match, in this group tonight. It really is so high level.
Couldn't leave himself a good angle on this last yellow, though, to land nicely on the 8 ball. Can he just drop this in and take a really tough 8 ball? I think it goes to the bottom right. Definitely goes to the bottom left. Yeah, back himself to make this tough 8 ball.
For 1-0. Well, it was a tough shot. But with the form that he's been in and the way that he's been playing, not for a second did I think he was going to miss it.
I think the red that's on the rail may have just been, certainly in his mind. I don't think it was really blocking the pocket. It may have been blocking the jaw of the pocket.
Oh, Michael's now going to make this very, very difficult.
Well, this could last a while. This really could. How do Reds try and open these up here? He's hoping that Declan hits the red in potting the 8 ball. And he hasn't. Now, Michael is in trouble.
He's in a lot of trouble. He is in a lot of trouble. It's a great hit from Declan. It was a bit loose, therefore, from Michael. It's difficult to tell from our camera positions, just how it looks down the eye. But no extension here for Michael, he's already used it, so needs to get that white out of dodge, and he's done that pretty well, although...
There's a gap. I think this goes... It's very tight, but I think there's a gap here. I think...
might even double kiss in.
Yeah. It's his first shot that he played. I don't know whether he had a better option than the shot he played. He obviously had to play it quickly, only 20 seconds. He may well have done.
Oh, and a foul, and he pots. And a stamp of annoyance from Declan Brennan. It was tight. You can see how tight it was.
Well, that's what you're playing for if you're in Michael Hill's side of the table, when you decide to do what he did, which was to roll a red on top of the 8-ball. You're trying to make it in such a way where Declan has to make a genuine effort to hit the 8-ball. He can't just foul, he has to play it with enough pace to reach the 8-ball. So he is trying to create that happening where that Declan's going to pot it off the red, but he's probably a little bit fortunate the way he came out, because Declan played a great first shot to get to the 8-ball, and it was a little bit unfortunate the way it panned out. But I guess what he'll be more annoyed about is the fact that he missed the 8-ball when he had his first opportunity, when it was in the open. He can now go and get a few words with Dylan Leary. He's now with Stephen Jameson.
Yeah, Dylan, thanks for joining us. A tough night for you tonight. We talked earlier, just before we came back on, that it can be a great sport to watch, Paul, but it can be very, very brutal at times as well. Is that what it feels like for you tonight?
Absolutely. The break has killed me again tonight, and it's just that's Paul. You know, you just got to bear it, and hopefully next match my breaks are going and I can cause an upset.
And in terms of how you've enjoyed the competition, obviously it's a tough format, it's a unique format. How much have you enjoyed the way it's played?
I've loved it every minute. The boys have been fantastic, and the tables are awesome, and yeah, hopefully I'll be back and I can show you what I can do.
And you've got obviously one more match to come tonight. Obviously nothing on the line for you, but I know as a pro and as a player, there's always something on the line for you as well. And talk us through how you're going to approach it.
100%. I'm going to give it my all, and hopefully win the match and cause some damage.
Well, that's the plan. Dylan, congratulations on a good performance so far. Best of luck for your next match.
Thank you.
Simon, back to you.
Great to hear from Dylan. Not been his night, but he hasn't done much wrong at all. He can count himself a little bit unfortunate, but that is Paul at the elite level. 6 times he's had the frames cleared off the break against him, and the break hasn't really been working for him, so he hasn't had the same level of opportunities. Missed double from Declan Brennan has given the opportunity to Michael Hill, and positional error has cost him. See him throw the chalk in the air there. He just needed a little bit more of a contact on that yellow to stay on the yellow at the bottom left, and he's now in a position with very little time left on the clock and no pot to go for. Not a bad recovery though.
How's your recovery shot? Yeah, goodness me.
It's 20 seconds a shot, and just talk you through that last 20 seconds. He's played a poor positional shot, thrown the chalk in the air, thrown his head back, annoyed with himself, walked around the table and casually pot it off 2 cushions and land on his next ball. Still has to play one good shot here, this yellow off the red, cushion and then the red. It's not easy. He would have wanted to get a lot better position on this yellow than he has, and that's still to do with the mispositional shot a couple of shots ago.
Close. Really close, but not quite there for Michael Hill. It's a very similar shot to the one that Declan played in the opening frame of this match. But those are really the only pots that are being missed, aren't they? The really, really difficult ones. Declan here with a great opportunity. I can't. It's just about picking his pattern, really. As soon as he does that, they're all there.
Oh, he's poor contact there. It's not going to stop him, but Just killed the white. He wanted an extra couple of rolls.
It's one thing I've noticed actually with pool players. That happens in a snooker match, for example. You would see far more of a huff about it. The cue ball would be cleaned immediately. That'd be requested. There's a bit of almost a bit of a point of not doing that, isn't it? You just sort of crack on. Something you've noticed as well?
Yeah, you don't see it. You don't see the cue ball getting cleaned that often in pool for one reason or another. You just have to kind of get on with it. Players do get annoyed and might throw their arms up a bit and show their frustration. But in that situation there, Declan was, you know, out of position, out of perfect position, but he was still in perfectly good position. So there's no reason to get annoyed in that situation. It's actually one of the things, I think if the balls are clean, then the clock would stop while they're being cleaned, which is not something I really agree with, but it is the way it is.
Yeah, it calls into question the science of kicks and stuff like that. It's something that no one ever has quite managed to figure out. Make a lot of money if they did. Here's the table as it stands then. Both of these players winning their opening matches, and Shane Thompson winning his second one, which puts him right in contention. A draw here would be really interesting for the table. Either one of these two, if they win it, will be one win away from completing their progress through into the next round. But it may well take 3 wins. I think if you win 2, might not be enough. Nice, another dry break, I think, unless Michael gets that last red in moving in the pocket. No. So a chance for Declan Brennan here.
Breaks not been good for Michael at all tonight so far. I think that's 5 breaks and 4 of them dry. Hard to win pool matches at this level when you break dry consistently. Oh, very fortunate indeed. This pot from Declan was a bit of a surprise. Well, he's landed absolutely perfect with that fluke. I'm not sure why, because he started the opening match so well and you know, looked good at the beginning or the halfway through the first frame in this match. Maybe losing that first frame, he just doesn't look, he looks, I don't want to say rattled, he just looks a little bit more frustrated than he did in the first match. Not quite got the precision with his positional play, having to work harder for this finish, and certainly the finish in the first frame, which he didn't manage to get. Another look at the fluke.
It's not a bad break if you can get it.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I feel like he's owed one after that opening match where he had the golden duck. If anyone's owed a fluke tonight, it'd probably be Declan Brennan. But he's got a bit of work to do here, because that's not come out kindly.
I feel like it's been the story of this match really for him. It's just when there's a chance, you know, if he finishes just off straight the other way, it's really simple. Just off straight that way, it's really awkward. And I feel like it's been the way all the way through that visit and all the way through the visit of the first frame. It just makes things awkward rather than easy. He's been a little bit fortunate with this leave, I think. If Michael can't see this yellow to the bottom left, then there's no pot to go at. And yeah, the overhead shows you either a pot, pot at the top of the table. I was going to say pot or a safety, but he's gone for the pot.
Has been aggressive tonight, Michael Hill, hasn't he? Whenever he's really had the chance to, he's on every occasion. He mentioned it in his interviews. He was quite blasé about the way that he attacked a frame that probably should never have really been attacked.
Well, we questioned it, didn't we? He took on, he took it on, and he was trying to develop the table. And one shot into the visit, he didn't develop it. He carried on trying to make it happen, and it didn't. And he sort of referenced it. He said maybe he should have played safe, and we sort of talked about it at the time. Perhaps the safety was the better option. I think that's one of the things you'll see with players, especially when they're not used to the sort of 20 seconds a shot, is they'll tend to be more aggressive because of it.
Well, it's the reason why it's put in, right? To force players to be aggressive. That's the whole. I think the whole point of the shot clock in its origin. Of course, now the players are more and more used to it. We can use the 20-second shot clock to speed the matches up, get more on, more opportunity for matches, but it certainly speeds things up. And
I think you are right, but I think a good safety shot can still give you the opportunity that's going to win you the frame of ball. It's not, doesn't have to be all-out attack.
It's been a good clearance this, mind, as we debate whether he should have taken it on or not. he's answered the question in that sense. And a great clearance from Michael Hill. It's what he does so well, and he goes 2-1 up against Declan Brennan. He will probably be a little bit frustrated. Not quite had it all his own way tonight, and just got to get his head back in the game a bit. This is the machine, Michael Hill, from Dudley originally. He's has been based up a little bit further north in recent years, but as gentleman who spent a lot of his lockdown the last year back in the West Midlands. Recently had a newborn, which was nice to hear. Just under a year ago. Had a less than busy last year, obviously, due to the pandemic. New dad as well. So he's still managed to keep himself busy.
Busy, yeah, definitely be busy as a new dad. One thing he hasn't been doing a huge amount of in the last year, and the reason he was saying he didn't come in here with that big an expectation and almost trying to play down his favourite tag, was the fact that he hasn't played much pool.
That is an absolute sledgehammer for a break, by the way, from Declan Brennan. Mentioned that he might be a bit frustrated. I think he's just taken all of it out on the pack there. He has hit that like a dream. Back to the cut break as well, which he went away from after his golden duck, and back to the old faithful, and that's about as good as you can hit a cut break. It's difficult to improve upon that. Yeah,
catch them brilliantly, isn't he? Just has to be precise with a couple of positional shots here. There's not one's near the cushion, could drop in the centre potentially. They're always more awkward than they look.
Ooh, cue ball needs to slow down a touch. He's all right. He's actually judged it to millimetre perfection, I think. Or is he a little bit over?
Yeah, the problem is that he's finished just awkward enough that he can't get nicely onto that ball into the centre pocket. Might have to play that from distance, which just makes it even trickier. Yeah, oh no, he played that well. Had a better angle on that than I thought.
Yeah, initially I thought he had the angle, then I thought he was straight because he seemed frustrated, and then in the end he was absolutely fine. It's been a great clearance from Declan Brennan in next to no time as well. Next frame is going to be really, really important. Take a look at the clock, less than 6 minutes remaining. It's going to be 2-2. The winner of this match puts himself in pole position for qualification as well. It's right on the line. And now it is in the balance between these two fine players. This is Declan Brennan from Mayor Bridge, Northern Ireland's 27-year-old, has had such a good career already at a relatively young age in the pool game. Liberty Games champion in 2019. I think was played here, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
And I mean, beat an all-star cast to win that event, didn't he?
Yeah, I haven't got the list in front of me now, but I did look earlier actually, and just the names he beat in winning that event. It was certainly sort of announced himself on the big stage, if you like, with the players he beat to win that event.
Michael Hill with the break then. Just under 6 minutes to go. 2 apiece. This next frame is massive. I think he's going to come up dry again. Not quite gone for in the break. It's the one thing that's really let him down, I'd say, Michael Hill.
Yeah, and he's changed the break as well, trying to make something happen, gone across the other side of the table and still dry. Not happening for him at all. You can see the difference though. He's not hitting that break anywhere near as firm as Declan is. Same cut break, same side of the table. Although you can't question with the number of balls that have gone up the top half of the table for Michael. He caught them well enough, just didn't make a ball.
We talk about the science of kicks and stuff like that. If anyone figured out the science of how to make a ball off the break, they'd make themselves an awful, awful lot of money. It really is something that can't quite be figured out. There's so much of an element of chance within it. But Declan didn't get a good look at that clearance and just decided to play safe. And I'm not sure he's left Michael anything particularly. He has potential 2-ball plant. I don't think he's going to take that on.
The problem you've got here for both reds and yellows, they've both got the same problem, and that's the red and yellow together on the right hand side, and it's not an easy problem to solve. The problem you have is whichever player decides to take it on, if they don't manage to develop that ball and make the clearance, they're making it easy for their opponent. And with 4 minutes 20 left on the clock, they almost want to see their opponent try and take on a finish here, then take it on themselves.
It's a great safety from Declan. Played every millimetre of that to glue it to that yellow.
Has got the snooker. Have to hit a cushion after contact, remember. So can't just come off one cushion and rest on a red. Has to hit it with enough pace. Oh, he's done that easily.
Well, Michael's now got himself in a position where he can quite easily move that red out with the reds that he's got around it. So in a sense that puts him a little bit up in terms of who's the more likely.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the problem area is easier to develop with red balls than yellow.
Declan's going for this. That's some opening gambit. 3-ball plant there for the full length of the table. It's some shot. I don't think he'd have played it if he didn't fancy going for it.
The yellow he's looking at to the top right, that's the ball. It looks tight to the top right, but it's the ball that's closest to his problem ball, so it's the ball he wants to use to develop the red and yellow. But if it is tight, then you have to get the perfect angle on it and be very precise when you actually play the shot. And he's not on it this time with the angle he needs. He's guaranteed to be next time because he's only playing a little stun shot. But all eggs in one basket here. If the cannon doesn't come out right, he's a massive underdog.
You've got to admire the aggression. You really do. To open it with a 3-ball plant to take this clearance on from here is about as aggressive as it can get. Massive shot coming up. Oh, he's unlucky. He is unlucky. I'm not sure if he can double this across. It's very close to the cushion, which isn't ideal. He's probably hitting the black.
I don't think he can. And it's the problem when you leave your hardest ball till last, and he just didn't have the opportunity to try and develop it earlier. He wanted to, but he couldn't. And that is the problem with taking on that finish. We did say before he took it on, the player that takes it on and doesn't get it becomes a massive underdog for the frame and therefore the match.
He did everything so well up until that point as well. He even played the shot well. You know, yeah. He's got into the area that he wanted to hit, but the double kiss has killed him. Just unlucky. And Michael Hill here actually probably wants to slow down a little bit. He talks about him not being used to this format. He wants to actually leave less time on the clock than he's currently about to.
He's actually rushed, hasn't he? He's actually sped up on this visit because he's worried about not having enough time, but he's actually got loads of time. He wanted to really slow it down.
I think he's just realised that as well. He got up off the shot. He's flown through his first 4-5 reds, and actually he could have played 20 seconds a shot and still had a little bit of time to spare. As it is, Declan does have the next break as well and may have a chance to tie it. This is sensible from Michael, using up as much of the clock as possible. And he's going to give Declan not a lot of time, but he will have a shot. And he's only going to have about 30 seconds, maybe 25.
He's going to take,
gives him about a break.
Yeah, it's going to take the clearance away, isn't it? It's basically putting a golden break or not. It won't be enough time to make the finish. The clock does get stopped for the balls to be racked, so it'll be 27 seconds for Declan Brennan, which would be an incredibly quick break dish.
But I think if Michael was maybe a little bit more ready and a bit more prepared and a bit more used to this format, he might have thought, looked at the clock before he came to the table then and thought, right, I've got this much time. He could have left Declan with 2 or 3 seconds there and maybe even taken it away altogether. You know, in the end it doesn't matter a huge amount, but just feel like it was there for him to maybe consider.
Yeah, he could have done, but I guess you can't take enough time away where the break isn't going to be possible, because you're always going to have to leave a second or 2 on the clock. But yeah, he rushed through the first 4 or 5 and then realised and slowed down. I think once we've seen Michael play in this format a few more times, I think we're going to see him gain a little bit more control of that match clock.
Massive frame to win though. Massive, massive frame to win. Well, Declan's already prodded the 8 ball off the break once. He's not going to be able to there. Oh, can he do this in 20 seconds? Tell you what, it's a good job Michael Hill did stop the clock. I think if there was maybe 20 seconds more, these would have been all there. He's going to go fairly close in 20 seconds, which is mad. He's unlucky, Declan Brennan. Not for the first time tonight. All he needed was a little bit more time. Didn't have it. Every second counts in shootout pool, and that was the perfect example of that. Michael Hill wins 2 out of 2. That one was by the skin of his teeth. Some effort from Declan Brennan, who couldn't quite get it done despite a really, really good effort.
Yeah, no, I think for you'd say the match was kind of run by Declan. He had the chances and he wasn't able to take them. Michael probably was just feeding off a few more scraps. He didn't break quite as well as Declan did, so he was sort of hanging in there, hanging in the match. You could see that with the sort of balls potted and the chances that they had. So the fact that he's come out with a victory and it sets him up for one match left to try and go through top of this group, he'll be very, very happy with that situation.
Well, we already know, speaking to Dylan Leary, that he's prepared to give it everything and cause a bit of havoc, as he said. He's going to need to if Shane Thompson and Declan Brennan still have a chance of qualifying. That game comes next.
This programme is brought to you by Vinny.co.uk.